she arrived at the little cafe that evening with a mixture of hope and dread swirling in her chest. The streetlights shimmered off the snow-covered pavement, and the soft jingle of holiday bells mingled with the laughter of families passing by. It was Christmas Eve, and the world seemed to be wrapped in a blanket of warmth and cheer. But inside her, there was a chill that no festive glow could touch. Today was her blind date, and she had dressed carefully, choosing a red scarf that reminded her of old Christmas cards and the subtle perfume that lingered like a whispered promise. Yet, even as she adjusted her coat, a quiet voice in her mind whispered, "Maybe this will be the night you finally feel whole, or maybe it's just another disappointment." When he arrived, she forced a smile. He was polite, handsome in a conventional sort of way, but something about him felt distant, as though he were evaluating her rather than wanting to know her. Conversation faltered, polite but hollow, like two strangers skimming the edges of each other's lives without ever really touching. She laughed when he made a joke, nodded when he spoke of his work, but inside, her heart sank with each passing moment. By dessert, she realized that there was no spark, no connection, no glimmer of what she had hoped love might feel like. And when the check arrived, so did the quiet, firm words that left her breathless. "I don't think this is going to work out." She forced another smile, nodded, and left. Outside, the cold air bit her cheeks, and the festive lights blurred through tears she didn't try to hide. She had come tonight believing in possibility, believing that perhaps Christmas had a plan to bring her happiness, but instead, she felt discarded, invisible, and painfully ordinary. Her heart ached with the loneliness she tried so hard to mask, and she wondered how many more nights she would spend searching for a place to belong. Shivering, she began walking home. Her steps were slow, heavy, and reluctant, dragging through the snow as memories of past Christmases flickered like fragile candle flames in her mind. She thought of family gatherings she had once dreaded, of friends who had drifted away, of quiet nights spent alone with a cup of tea and a novel. Maybe this is my life, she thought, quiet and unnoticed, waiting for something that may never come. And then, just as she passed the edge of a small park, she heard a sound that stopped her in her tracks. Soft, tentative giggles carried on the wind. At first, she thought she imagined it, but as she looked closer, the dim glow of the streetlight revealed two small girls, huddled together on a snow-covered bench, their tiny hands clutching each other for warmth. Their faces were streaked with tears and snow, but their eyes sparkled with something startlingly bright: hope, courage, and a quiet determination. She approached slowly, her heart tightening. The girls looked up at her with wide, wary eyes, and one of them asked softly, "Are you lost too?" The question caught her off guard. She knelt beside them, brushing the snow from their coats. "No," she said gently. "I'm just walking home." The other girl tilted her head, her small brow furrowed in concern. "Do you have a mummy?" Her breath caught. She swallowed hard and shook her head, her throat tight with emotion. The first girl's hand reached for hers, small and insistent. "Will you be our mom?" Time seemed to stop. The snow fell in delicate flakes around them, settling silently on the bench, the ground, and their coats. She felt a warmth bloom in her chest, a mix of shock, disbelief, and a tenderness she hadn't known she could feel so deeply. She looked at the girls, at their trusting, fragile faces, and in that moment, everything inside her shifted. The loneliness that had weighed on her so heavily, the rejection that had cut so sharply, it all melted away, replaced by a sense of purpose she had never dared to imagine. Over the next few weeks, her life changed in ways she could not have predicted. She learned their names, Leela and Nora, and the details of their small but vibrant world. Their father was gone, a casualty of circumstance she would never fully understand, and their mother had vanished into the shadows of hardship. They were two little sparks of life, resilient and bright, waiting desperately for someone to love them without condition. She began spending every evening with them, cooking together, reading bedtime stories, and walking through parks dusted with snow, teaching them how to find joy in simple moments. And in return, the girls taught her about the purest kind of love, the kind that demands nothing and gives everything. She discovered that she could be strong in ways she had never realized, patient in ways that surprised her, and fierce in protecting the fragile hearts she had come to treasure. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Leela snuggled against her and whispered, "I'm glad you're our mom now." Tears slipped down her cheeks. She held both girls tightly, feeling the weight and beauty of responsibility, the overwhelming gratitude for the unexpected turn her life had taken. "And I'm glad I found you," she whispered back, her voice thick with emotion. Christmas morning arrived with its usual fanfare of lights and laughter, but for the three of them, it held a deeper, richer meaning. There were no fancy presents under the tree, no grand celebrations, just the quiet magic of three hearts that had found each other against impossible odds. They built snowmen, sang carols with clumsy, joyful voices, and exchanged homemade gifts filled with love. In their laughter, she found healing. In their trust, she found strength. And in their small hands wrapped around hers, she discovered a purpose that no rejection, no heartbreak, could ever take away. As the years passed, their bond grew stronger. She became not only a mother but a guide, a friend, a steady presence in their lives. Together, they faced challenges, the harsh judgments of others, the fears that sometimes crept in, but always with love as their compass. She learned that family is not just about blood. It is about devotion, resilience, and unwavering commitment to the happiness and safety of those you cherish. She would often look back to that night in the cafe, the night that had begun with disappointment and ended in heartbreak, and marvel at how the universe had a way of redirecting paths. What had felt like rejection had been the prelude to a greater love, a love she had never imagined and could never have planned. And in that realization, she discovered the true essence of kindness and hope. Sometimes, the very thing that breaks us opens the door to the life we were always meant to live. The story of that Christmas, the night she was rejected on a blind date, only to be asked by two small girls, "Will you be our mom?" became a tale she shared quietly, gently, whenever someone doubted the power of love and resilience. She told them about the pain of disappointment, the ache of loneliness, and the courage it takes to open your heart again. And then she told them about the magic that follows, the joy that comes when you least expect it, and the transformative power of kindness. Because in the end, life is not measured by the moments that wound us, but by the ones that heal, uplift, and remind us of the beauty of connection. She had learned that no rejection, no failure, no fleeting moment of despair could define her. Love, in its purest form, had found her when she was ready to embrace it, not in the way she had anticipated, but in the way that mattered most. And as she looked at Lila and Nora, now grown just enough to hold on to their dreams while still trusting in hers, she felt an unshakable truth settle in her heart. The greatest gift we can give and receive is the courage to open ourselves to love, to nurture others, and to allow life's unexpected miracles to fill the spaces we never knew were empty. If tonight you feel lost, rejected, or invisible, remember her story. Remember that the universe has a way of leading us to the people, the experiences, and the joys we were always meant to find. Trust that love can appear in forms we do not anticipate, that hope can be reborn even in the coldest moments, and that kindness offered and received has the power to change everything. Because sometimes, a closed door is simply a redirection toward a family waiting for you, a purpose waiting to be discovered, and a love waiting to transform your life forever. And when you find it, hold it close, cherish it deeply, and let it guide you to become the person you were always meant to be. This Christmas, she realized, had not been about disappointment. It had been about awakening, about embracing the unexpected, and about discovering that the truest magic is not in gifts or glitter, but in hearts opened wide, ready to give and receive love. So, if you believe in the power of kindness, of resilience, and of miracles, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and remember, sometimes the people who seem to appear out of nowhere are the ones who change your life forever, because love, in its most unexpected form, is always worth saying yes to.